Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you were wondering, I am still outside of B&B and Garrett is still working on his merit badge. And I am kind of bored. So what I decided to do is I decided to do another video, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to check the tire pressure on a tire that's on your vehicle. So I know that some scouts, especially the juniors from Troop 4444, already have some experience with this, but in case you don't have experience or if you need a refresher, this is a super useful video. Once you get your license and you start driving around, it's really important for you to check your tire pressure regularly to make sure that you don't have any issues, because obviously tires are a little bit important when you're trying to drive somewhere. So I'm going to flip my camera. I guess I'm not going to flip my camera because it turns out that you can't flip your camera once it's already recording. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna work from here. Alright, so here's my tire. What happens is somewhere in these little letters right here, it says how many, right here. It says never exceed 40 PSI. And you probably won't be able to see that. You'll just have to trust me that it's there. And I promise that it's actually there. So what that means is PSI is one way to measure pressure. So there's a bunch of different units that scientists use to measure pressure. And one of them is just PSI. So when it says never exceed 40 PSI, it means don't exceed 40 units of pressure. So why don't you want to exceed it? Well, don't exceed it because you don't want the tire to blow up in your face, because that would be really unfortunate. So what you need to do is step number one is you need to make sure you're in a safe space. Look around you. Right now I'm in an empty parking lot. There's no cars coming. So this is really important. You don't want to check the tire pressure if you're in like the middle of a road. You want to make sure that you're somewhere safe, like in a driveway, anywhere where you're not going to get hit by a car, because as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, I'm crouched down. I'm going to be working with the tire. I'm not going to be paying attention to my surroundings as much as I would need to be if I were in some place that were a little bit more dangerous. So make sure you're in a safe place. Also, don't do this without an adult. Just please, let's not do anything on our parents' vehicles without help. So what you're going to do is step number one is see this little, hang on, work with me here. Okay, so yeah, this is so fun. Okay, there you go. So you see this little noodle right here that's sticking out on the car? So what you're going to do is you're going to unscrew that little noodle, and it's a little cap that comes off. Now you have to be very careful not to lose this cap. I don't know what happens if you lose it, so don't lose it, because you'll probably never be able to replace it, and your parent will hate you for the rest of eternity. So I'm going to put it on the ground right there, so I don't lose it. So we're going to go back to this noodle, and what I have here is I have a tire pressure gauge. In my tire pressure gauge is a little hole with a circle in the middle of it, and I'm going to put that circle in the middle of it on here. So I take it, looks kind of like an astronaut helmet. I'm going to take it and I'm going to shove it right on here. I'm going to push it, and what happens is when I push it, I'm going to line it up. You want to make sure that it's nice and aligned, and you just push it hard and straight into the nozzle. And then what happens is you'll get a readout that looks like this. So I think it might be too little for me to focus it well, but what happens is that number at the top is right at 40. So the tire pressure reads right at 40, which means that I am right at 40 PSI. So typically you want to be a little bit under that, so when it says never exceed 40 PSI, you might want to be a little bit below 40. I think that my tire pressure gauge is a little bit off. So that's why I'm not concerned about being right at 40. So I can't just walk away at this step. I have one last thing I need to do. I need to pick up my little noodle cap, and I'm gonna screw it back on, and it has little threads. So maybe you can see in the right here, there's little threads. So you just screw it back on, and you want to make sure that it's nice and tight. And then you need to go put your tire pressure gauge in a safe spot so you do not lose it. All right, that's all for today. Make sure you like and subscribe.